Okay, I think we are live again. Let's give this another shot. Okay,
Ready
go
to
ahead.
rock?
Ready to rock. I believe we are. Go ahead.
All right, we are doing take 2. But here's the deal. JJ the CPA here with the Amanda. We're going to be doing some content today with Jose Zavala of ZTX Advisors. So he's down in Houston. We're out of Oklahoma City. What we want to talk about today is a couple of different things. I am going to be coming out with a podcast. Mine's going to be more traditional, where it's just, on iTunes and others where you're just listening to it. But one of the things that I want to do differently is those that I'm doing the interview with, that I'm doing it with them live, like together, like in person. And so we're going to be recording that. There's a hint. But we also want to talk today about automation, because here's the thing. I've been in the business 26 years, my own practice for 22. I don't really know what automation is. Now, Jose and I are part of JX4. We're half of it, and he is the automation expert. Now, he has his own practice. That's the ZTX Advisors, where he's doing bookkeeping and tax returns and tax, consulting and planning and whatnot, but he also does automation. And we're going to talk a little bit about what he's doing with his clients, and from a standpoint of maybe how could I implement a few things like that. So we won't get too detailed. That would probably be too much content for today, July 4th, Independence Day. So here we are, Jose and I, working hard for you on 4th of July. But here's the thing I want you to know. You ready for this? Because every time you look at social media and every time you see all the podcasts, whether it's with Jose or with Juan or any of the others, right? There's a split screen, which we're still going to probably have today, because each person is in a different location. But today, we are together. Look at this.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this.
Mm-hmm.
So, from our perspective, we're going to also talk about the differences of doing business live, also doing business Zoom, and that'll probably go into some of the automation and some of the questions, that I've got. And then I think we also, what was the other thing we were going to talk about? It was, you're getting all the behind the scenes, and then we'll cut it up.
Automation and
going live together. What was the third thing?
I don't remember, but we'll get to it. We'll get there.
We'll
come
get
to us. I know it will.
Get to it.
Yeah.
So, which camera, for starters, do we want to look at if we're okay?
This is the main one right here. So this is mine for me, and then
okay, so we're not using this.
Yeah, we're not using this one right now. Okay. So we got that one right there. Or if you want to speak, the microphone's on this one. But if you want to, there's that camera as well. Whichever one you want to look at, those are the two.
You know what would be cool is we just are in both of them.
We just what?
We're in both of them.
Yeah.
We're in both sides.
Yeah.
So you're on my side and I'm on your side.
Uh-huh.
No, you don't like that idea?
I love it. No,
okay.
I love it.
Why don't we do that?
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Because every time somebody like, how when you're scrolling through, like you don't hear the sound or whatever, but someone's gonna stop and go, "What is this?"
Yeah.
What? They're both in the same spot. That's clear. Okay. So, J-Mac has a question. I love
already.
J-Mac, lay it on us, my friend. What's your question?
So we'll let him type that in. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about kind of what we wanted to talk about.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So the thing here is that, these are the two cameras, right?
These are the two cameras, yeah.
So the thing is that I'm sitting in Jose's office, okay? His ZTX HQ. You have, is that a Surface?
Surface Book,
okay.
Yeah.
You have a Surface, you have an iPad, you have an iPhone, you have two screens, you have lights, you have an arm, you have that would hold a microphone, you have a professional microphone, you have a thing that covers a microphone. Over here you have like a multi-$1,000 camera, and you have two different cameras here, okay? And so when I go to record my podcast, we're just going to do it right. We're just doing it on my iPhone. And to be honest with you, given that my niche is I want to do it with somebody live, this is the easiest way to do it. Okay, so Justin, I have a question. Hi guys, thanks for having me on. My question is for Jose. I love it. Okay, you gotta type a little faster there, McAuliffe.
You take a little too long there, my friend. Take a little too long. But well, okay, we'll let Justin kind of get his
Okay,
bearings.
I'm gonna follow.
Yeah.
Follow your lead here. So
So
we just want to go like 20 minutes. So I thought we would talk through the automation part. We're recording it here on my phone as well.
Okay.
That will have kind of our crude way of
mm-hmm.
being able to come back to some of the content. So I'm now going to go into podcast mode. So we won't refer to any of the technology per se, any of that kind of good stuff. So you let me know when you're
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Okay. So I've already introduced you,
Okay.
like who you are and where you're at and how we know each other.
Okay.
That you're an expert in how.
Okay.
So now you're coming on.
Okay. Perfect.
JJ. Oops.
I'm excited, by the way. This is awesome. First episode.
First episode.
And with a hoarse throat. So that's going to be interesting.
And this picks us up, as you probably know.
Mm-hmm.
So here's the bottom line. Right now, for the first time, I am live and in person with Jose Zavala. Thanks for being on my show, brother.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
You bet. And you're the first one.
Yes.
And I love it. And,
First is always the best.
I know it. And you've had me on your podcast,
Mhm.
the ZTX podcast. One of the things that's different about yours is you get to see us.
Mhm.
You know, and I was in Oklahoma at the time. You were in Houston. We were shooting it.
Mhm.
What we're doing here is the niche, as I mentioned earlier in this podcast, is that we're together. So what I want to do is put ourselves... What did he do?
What does JJ smell like in real life? Describe as best as you can. 4D
Oh, goodness
experiences
gracious.
are in the future.
Okay.
This
If
is
you're-
I'm
this
sorry.
is what happens, guys,
I'm sorry.
whenever you have social media friends and you're meeting for the first time, and we all haven't met yet together. So this is what happens. You get gentlemen like Mr. McAuliffe over there with.
I'm sorry,
He's the
I
best.
just looked up and I just saw it, so I didn't mean to.
Okay. All right. We're just gonna
Let's just-
we're
I
just
won't-
gonna
keep
go
going.
with it.
I
We're just gonna
won't
go.
stare at
We're
the-
just gonna go with it.
I won't stare anymore.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to talk about automation, and here's the thing: I don't really know what automation is, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that maybe think they know, or this is a new concept to them.
Mhm.
So what I thought automation was a way that when you onboarded a client, it would make it kind of cookie cutter, and they'd be able to get their information in the same way, and you would track clients and their information, and there would be kind of this really, non-personal but automated way that clients would be communicated with.
Mhm.
And so for me, I wasn't a fan of that because in my practice, I am hands-on. Obviously, we call clients, but I mean, I've kind of built my practice on going to the client. And I talked about earlier in this podcast. So a little bit, what is automation from the standpoint of what is it, but then how are you using it?
So for me, automation is just taking out those menial tasks. So those tasks that you have that you're doing. So when you're onboarding a client, you're sending them an email. You're, a little bit of what you talked about. Yes, is kind of, trying to take away a lot of those, onboard emails or setting them up in 3 different softwares. Where it's just when the moment they accept a proposal or something, it does it all for you. I see it as, yes, it can be very impersonal if that's all you do. But what I do is I take that time I save from there and I put that more client facing. So I make sure to have a 90-minute onboarding call with them to give them plenty of time to, okay, this is how we work. These is our systems. Yeah, we've got you set up in all of our systems already. But, this is essentially have that breakdown of, okay, this is what I'm going to need from you, this, and this with a face-to-face conversation, maybe not necessarily in person, but through a Zoom meeting or something like that.
Well, so when you talk about bringing on new clients, how are they reacting to that?
So a lot of that stuff they don't see a lot of that stuff that goes on in the back end.
No, I'm saying how are they even reacting that you're meeting with them, but it's via video, and that you're going to continue to meet with them via video?
So far, they've all been okay with it
Okay.
because part of the process is I put a link to my calendar that they can access me. They can set up a meeting whenever they want with me.
Okay.
So that way, I tell them, look, if you call and ask me, hey, when can we meet? It's going to be a lot of back and forth. But if I give them access to my calendar, they can book a meeting when they know I'm free.
Okay.
Now I have to stay on top of my calendar, of course,
Right.
but they book a meeting with me, and then that way they know they always have access to me. On top of that, in our project management system, we have a message thread for every project that we have for them that they can contact me a little bit quicker. So then if they have kind of a quick question, they can send me a message on there, and then I can respond on my phone or on my computer to them directly. So, hey, I've got this IRS notice. Okay, upload it, send it to me. I'll take a look at it and I'll take care of it, kind of thing. But if it's like, hey, I had this big project I need to talk to you about. All right, let's book some time on my calendar. Here's my calendar. Find a spot that's open, that I'm open, that works for you. Because again, and I'm sure you see it all the time, a lot of back and forth. Well, this
Yeah.
works for you. No, Tuesday doesn't work for me. How about Wednesday? Well, Wednesday at 3. What about 3:30? What
Well-
about 3:45?
So it sounds like you get a little more access. And is this a specific software that is doing this? Is there multiple softwares?
So it's all multiple softwares that
Okay.
kind of all talk with each other.
Gotcha.
Our project management that we use is something called Teamwork,
Okay.
and that's the one that has the built-in message threads
Okay.
that we have our conversation with our clients within there, and when we tell them everything, we want to keep everything inside there so that there's an audit trail, there's a paper trail we can follow. Emails get lost, emails get deleted. But if you have a problem with something, or hey, I have this problem with this transaction, how do I code it? Put it on there. That way, there's a trail that we can follow,
Gotcha. Okay.
and I can know, okay. And then what we also do on there is there's kind of like a YouTube called Vimeo, where we get all of our client data, we password protect it, not data, I'm sorry, the videos, and then we give them access to that so they can go back and watch any video that we recorded to avoid those problems of miscommunications of, hey, you said this, I said that. Well, no, we have it on video, we have it recorded. I told you no, it was out of scope.
Yeah.
And and we can go back and kind of like, okay, we already discussed this kind of situation.
So like on Facebook we have Messenger, right? So everybody's probably familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
So would that be a good way to compare what you're talking about as it relates to the communication, where it can be audio and video, or is there a way that it's organized as well in this software?
So in this software, so the way the software itself works is essentially, we've got our tasks, and it's very task heavy, and so we can sit there and know, okay, I've got a tax return,
Okay.
and I allocate tasks, wages. I get very, kind of
Okay.
drilled down into it, and so that you have that aspect of it to try to track our projects, put budgets on each project, that way we can see capacity for the employees. But then built in there as well is a file section where they can upload and download files securely, which is where so instead of having a separate portal system,
got it,
like ShareFile or those other ones that work great, it's all in one system. And then under there as well is something messages, and that's where you can start a new thread, or you can even make comments on files or things like that. But the way instead of trying to get everything out of the way, or because once you start commenting on a bunch of different files, things can get kind of wacky. So what we try to do, and part of the onboarding process, let them know like, hey, we're going to start a 2019 bookkeeping thread. We're going to start a 2019 sales tax thread. We're going to start a 2019 tax return thread, tax planning thread. Any questions related to that, let's keep it in that thread. That way we can go back and we'll be able to see, okay, this is what happened and everything, to kind of have a running paper trail of making sure, and it holds us accountable, and to make sure that we actually get it done. And the good thing about that software is our clients can go in and actually see what percentage of the project we've got done.
Okay.
So if we've got maybe 50% done, they'll be able to see it's 50% done. And then that way there's more transparency, and it eliminates a little, or the plan is to eliminate a little bit of that, hey, where's this, where's that kind of thing,
Yeah.
that still tends to happen sometimes. Things get backed up, and maybe a project takes a little bit longer than usual. But that's kind of the theory of where I'm trying to go, is to get to that point.
So everybody knows about Dropbox. Would this be in theory that they could do away with Dropbox? I don't mean the industry as a whole, but I'm just saying, like,
So
we use
in this,
Dropbox in our office, where I can just pull up now, which is really nice, on my phone or anywhere, the documents, and if the client wants it, I can send them a link or whatever, and it's in PDF. So when you're talking about the file system, is that similar to Dropbox?
Yep.
Okay.
It's the same. It's kind of the same function as well.
Okay.
And so that's why I like that specific one, because it has all those things built in already. So the client goes into one website and they have access to all that stuff, instead of like, hey, what's the link to the portal again? What's the link to this? Or hey, where's my link here? And it just and it happens. Okay. I get it, because I mean, I do it too. Yeah. I sign up for something, for a service, and I'm having to go 6 different ways of, well, where do I go?
Okay.
Now I do want to say, it's not. So the message is more message threads, like a forum. It's not like a Slack, like a communication.
Okay.
Because that, to me, that I think that's also going to get a little bit hard to kind of keep track of personally. But we like to keep it all in the message threads.
Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
have that one.
Okay.
So
why is it then called automation? Is there anything that is automatic, or am I just like, that's what I think of, Jose, is I think, where's this going to save me time? I heard everything you just said, but I think in one of our JX4 episodes, you talked about how if you sign a task and a due date, does it automatically send an email saying we still need this? Where's the automatics?
Okay, so the automation comes into play, not necessarily with the software itself, but let me walk you through kind of our onboarding process.
Okay.
So, we have the client lead. We have a conversation. So we have a meeting, a Zoom meeting usually. So we record it. So, kind of talk about what we want to do, what are the services we provide and everything. If they're like, okay, let's move forward, we go and submit a proposal to them. If they're happy with the proposal, we usually accept. If it's like a monthly project, we make sure that we get their payment up front right then and there. The proposal software takes care of all that. They can't sign it unless they input the payment information.
It.
So
hey, that's key right there, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Anyway, so
and then so if they sign it and they're happy, it attaches the engagement letter as well. So we take care of having the engagement letter and the proposal and the payment all right there. Once that happens, it kicks off a series of tasks. And so for me, it creates automatically a new project inside the project management system. Okay. I don't have to go in and input the new client and type all that in. It creates the client inside of Xero, our accounting system, which is where we invoice out of.
Okay.
And then it sends them an onboarding email automatically. I already have it pre-drafted, like hey, welcome to the family, and then I have a link to a video where I just kind of explain a little bit more how we work, how I work, and then a link to my calendar that says, hey, onboarding, here's an onboarding, schedule a call, let's go ahead and get that set up and good to go. And then, so yeah, that's where the automations come in, is taking time away from creating the proposal, creating the engagement letter, having to get the payment information, putting them into the invoicing system, sending that onboarding email. That's where the automations come in. That's kind of where it comes in. So when the client sees it, as soon as they sign that proposal, boom, 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 boom. They got like 3 different tasks that they may be see, but on our end, we've got tasks coming left and right that all come with, and just by the click. And so the way that works is, we use different softwares for all those different things. And there's a software called Zapier that connects those together. And so every time the task, something is done, it creates a zap. And that's where, so when they sign the proposal, it initiates a zap that'll send them that email, that onboarding email, which we already have pre-coded with, kind of like a welcome email. And then the same thing, when anybody schedules a call with us, we have a zap that it'll send out a hey, thanks for scheduling. We see we have a call with you. We look forward to it. If you have any problems, please feel free to reach out. But yeah, come on in. And we're gonna have the baby on here. Say hi.
Hi.
Sorry, yeah.
No.
Sorry. So we got the baby coming, guys. It's 4th of July, so.
4th of July.
Hi.
It's a superstar.
Come on.
This is why we do all this stuff, right, Jose?
Daddy?
Yep.
Come on over.
Come on. Daddy.
It's JJ the CPA.
You know who he is. So my daughter's really shy, and so she's
And Jose
Can
Zavala.
you bring her here? I know you gotta get going too. I'll take her. So she's gonna be on camera.
Perfect. See, look at this.
That's
This will
the
be the
first
kind of
time.
thing that's going to go viral, buddy.
Say
We're
hi.
live.
Say hi. So
Hi.
say hi.
What's her name?
Liliana Beatriz Vala.
Oh.
So Lily.
Liliana.
Liliana,
I love that.
don't be shy.
All right, we're doing
So-
podcast. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. So Zapier, that's the program that connects everything, and those are kind of that's if there's no direct integrations within each software, Zapier usually has they're the ones that come in and create it. So like I was saying, they schedule a call, send an email, say, hey, thanks for scheduling the call. Then we have the call, and as soon as the call's over, it's like, hey, thanks for the call. We look forward to this relationship, and
Wow.
then
Okay.
here's a survey link.
So the automation sounds like it saves a lot of administrative time.
Yes.
Does what you're talking about work with QuickBooks? So like, because here's what I'm thinking of.
Mhm.
You know, when we're talking to other accountants, we're talking to other CPAs.
hmm
So if you were to come and tell me about this, I'd be like, well, you know, Jose, that sounds great, but I already have all of my clients' documents in Dropbox,
hmm
and I've been on QuickBooks forever,
hmm
right? So
QuickBooks Desktop or QuickBooks Online?
desktop.
Desktop. Okay.
Okay.
So
So you don't have to tell me how, but do they integrate, or you're gonna have
desktop, I don't know too much. It's very limited because it is a desktop solution.
Mhm.
The reason all these work is because a lot of these are on the cloud.
to? Okay.
Now Dropbox, yes. So Dropbox, since it is on the cloud, there is different. There's different tasks that you could
Okay.
potentially do there.
Okay.
Okay. But we would have to. So the way it would work is we would have to take a look at your workflow. Map out your workflow, what it looks like from beginning to end, beginning of the client to the end. Once you deliver the tax return, and figure out, okay, if are there inefficiencies, where are there inefficiencies, and then from there, that's where we would ask the question, okay, can we maybe do this a little bit better? Or can we maybe plug in a software to save you the 5-10 minutes per tax per client?
Mhm.
Which it's not a lot,
Yeah.
but you add those up, it can
Yeah.
add up significantly.
Is any part of the automation save in doing the tax return, like when they send documents?
So the only way the problem is there's really not very many cloud-based tax softwares out there,
Okay.
and that's the problem. They're all
Gotcha.
kind of closed in.
Yeah.
I know QuickBooks has that
Drake
ProTax
is.
Connect.
That's one of the reasons we started using Drake. Drake
So-
is cloud based.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's not.
Drake is no.
technically
So Drake is you download it on your computer, or you can log into they host it for you.
Yeah, they host
Yeah,
it.
so
That's
they
not
host it.
considered.
That's not considered cloud
Oh,
because
it's
it's
not
still
considered cloud. Okay.
yeah. So yes, it is, but let me rephrase that. It is considered cloud. The only thing is that it doesn't have an open API,
Got it.
and that's
Okay.
the problem.
I
Is
see.
you need to have an open API, and I always
Gotcha.
forget what API stands for, and I'm a little embarrassed. But it's essentially what it is that lets
No
you
embarrassment. Yeah.
lets you connect to. If,
Yeah.
if a software has an open API, that means other softwares can write code to connect to it.
Yeah.
And
gotcha.
that's where the problem
Okay.
is. I think Drake, most of those tax softwares don't have that at all. I know there's some people, I've heard of some kind of other ones that have been out there trying to create something, but it's
Okay.
just,
Yeah.
well, I will say this, the only way I've seen is to use, so for Drake, for your personal, for 1040s would be to use something in the system called Gruntworks. Have you heard of Gruntworks?
No.
So Gruntworks is essentially you take the client information, you scan it in, send it to Gruntworks. They get it together in a format. You can upload it. It'll automatically fill in your tax return with the W-2s and the
What?
Schedule Ds and things like that.
Into
Gruntworks
what?
into Drake.
What?
Yeah.
All
And
right.
so that's something. CCH has their own built in as well, but Gruntworks works with a lot of different ones. So I know a lot of clients that do a lot of individual tax
Yep.
returns
Yep.
will send that, you scan it in, send it into them, they
Wow.
process it, send it back, and you just upload it, and it automatically fills in. Now you have to go in and verify everything is
Sure,
right,
sure,
but
sure.
you get away from that data input.
Right.
You know,
Not
and so
saving that time and
yeah,
effort.
and so now you're just more focusing on just making sure what's go in there right, and if something didn't go in for some reason, you know, then at that point you input it yourself.
Yeah, gotcha.
So,
So when you are, you know, known as an automation expert, and on JX4 we talk about that. That sounds like though you're when in that expertise, are you consulting and selling your service to other accounting firms or CPAs, like to come in and show them how this works? Are you doing that, or you're just an automation expert in
not
the
yet.
sense that you're
So
doing
for
it with
me,
your own practice?
I'm doing it for my own practice. Um, Application Programming Interface (API).
There
I
you
knew
go.
it. Okay, I knew it. It's tip of my tongue. Sorry, allergies have got me all loopy, and I got the little baby here. But so no, I'm not yet. I would like to get into it. That's something that I'm looking to kind of see what the market, if there's a market for it, and what I can do. Like I know for me internally, I like to. My passion is kind of getting my firm nice and as automated and as kind of an assembly line as possible.
Yeah.
You know, and then going from there. You know, but I have conversations all the time with colleagues about, hey, what about this? What about that? Does this work? Does that work? And then you know,
Awesome.
so but
Awesome.
as far as monetizing it, not yet.
Yeah.
Right? It's all just kind of conversations right now.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, I do think that our industry as a whole is always a little bit behind on technology. And so, anyways, we're going to wrap this up. I'm going to keep mine to 30 minutes. But I really appreciate your time and effort. We're here together live in Houston. We've got your baby girl with us. And we want to continue this discussion outside of this podcast, but we are going to have additional information about Jose, ZTX, and these various softwares that he talked about. So thanks for tuning in. JJ the CPA out.
Awesome.
Yay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
First ever podcast episode for JJ the CPA.
That's right.
So
All
that's
right,
great,
boom.
guys.
In the books.
It's done.
In the
I'm
books.
excited.
And with Lily too.
Yeah.
So those of you out there, that now we can actually say hi to my daughter. Say hi, Lily.
We probably should put a few things on the story.
So
So we talked a lot about automation. We're also talking about just in social media. Everybody is Zoom meetings, right? You shoot something live, and then Katie Thomas, CPA, will comment on it. Then Katie Thomas shoots something in a video and puts it on there, and you comment on it. Or we do podcasts, which are very, they're pre-rearranged, and it's more formal, I would expect. Because other than the only Zoom meetings I've been on is with you, Juan, and JX4. I've not ever been on a Zoom meeting before, and Amanda C. Watts. So from my perspective, being somebody that's, I know you've been doing this a long time too, but in terms of how I've been doing my practice, because when did you open your practice? A couple years
we're
ago?
going
ZTX?
2 years, I think, next month.
Okay, well, congrats
So
on
thank
that.
you, thank you.
But if we're looking at a situation like me, right? So 22 years I've had my own practice, 26 in the business. But I built a niche, which was I'm going to go meet with my clients at their offices. And you got 22 years ago, not everybody had a cell number or a cell phone. I didn't have a business email address. No one did it. I didn't have a website. I had a business card. That was it. And when people say, oh, you pound the pavement, that's what I was doing. I was going around talking to bankers, and then as I brought clients in, the one thing that they loved was like, oh wow, you're here at my office, you're talking to me. And as I talked about on the podcast in the beginning of it, that I find an advantage to that because I get to meet the client staff, maybe the other people involved with the numbers. I might pick up on something at their office that maybe helps me serve them better. What's interesting though is that, when I hear some of the things that you're talking about, the documentation and then being able to refer back to the documentation, and maybe some of that formalness improves the relationship where, when I say informalness in terms of how you're able to interact with the clients. But why am I saying all that? Because This is the abnormal situation, which is you and I are in the same room. We're
Mhm.
sitting next to each other.
Mhm.
We're so live that your baby girl is with us.
Mhm.
And I think that's what's kind of neat about social media is we have been friends for a long time.
Mhm.
Before we even knew each other, we were following and
Mhm.
commenting, and I was honored to be on your podcast,
Mhm.
and we talked, and then we did the JX4, and we keep up with each other. But
Mhm.
this is the kind of thing though we would never see, right?
Mhm.
Your daughter,
Mhm.
right? I mean, in the sense, you're
Yeah.
you're doing business.
It's the professional side of it, but
Yeah.
now it's the nice thing is it's the personal side of it. You
Yeah.
know, and we are friends. I mean,
Yeah.
I do consider you
Right.
a friend of
Yes,
mine. You know,
same.
same thing with Justin and Juan. It was great to meet them at ZeroCon. That was fun. ZeroCon was a lot
Yeah,
of fun.
looks
and so,
like it. I was very jealous. Yeah, Amanda and I definitely wanted to be a part of that. Here, you have to pull over in the screen so everybody knows that you're here too. This is
Amanda's here
this
too.
is, this is how live we are. You got on this one, but did you get in this one? Did you get? Was she on that one?
Yeah, she was on that one, which
Okay.
is that one
I
right
got
there.
too many cameras.
We've got a lot of cameras,
Yeah.
guys, so we're
Yeah.
trying to make sure we've got everything.
Yeah, but I do think that this symposium that I'm putting together, that's kind of becoming much more of a collaboration. I might just be the one that came up with the idea, but as we expand it, I think the uniqueness of it will be that we are all going to be in the same room. So we've got Amanda C. Watts coming over from the UK, you're up from Houston, we're going to have Juan from California, and Justin from New York, and then I'll be in my hometown because that's where we're going to do it, is in Oklahoma. But think of this, like that's the anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would assume like this podcast that you're gonna post right at some point on ZTX is gonna be the anomaly, because every other one that you are gonna show, it's one person on the other side and then you are on the other.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've got double impact on each side. So
Mhm.
anyways, but that's what's interesting. I mean, any thoughts on that, in the sense of like we've almost gone opposite, my friend?
So
The anomaly used to be a video meeting. Like,
Yeah.
what? You're having a video? I mean, it's still a little bit of
So,
that,
so let me
but-
tell you something. When my second year in business, I was with a firm, regional firm out of Austin, and they had a Houston office. And I remember a client owed us a significant amount of money, and they sold webcams and video conferencing software. So I guess it was like a barter. You come set it up for our offices. And so I remember we did it. It was like a big deal, and
Yeah.
everybody was like, "Oh my God, we can see you guys in Austin, and we've got the Dallas office, and we've got this other office, and we're having like those once a year meetings, and it's
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
oh my God, and it was
Yeah.
supposed to be great and everything. I mean,
Yeah.
it didn't work. It was
Yeah.
spotty internet.
Yeah.
It
Right,
just,
right.
but it was a cool con, and I remember thinking, I was like, wow, like, this is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
why are we doing this more?
Yeah.
And then of course we got away from that, and
But
it just,
now where we're at is that, I mean, you're now working at home,
yeah,
because you're like, why?
I don't need an office.
And JMac works at home, from a standpoint of that's how many clients you're working with. I need an office still, because my clients, they just bring stuff by. They want to drop
you
in.
can still do a lot of your work at home and have.
Yeah,
and
started
we
to.
slowly
Yeah.
been able to transition.
So I will tell you this. I feel like now I speak more I spend more time speaking and engaging with my clients than I did when I was not doing it this way.
Yeah, gotcha.
Because I want to make sure that relationship is there, and again, if we're not messaging each other on the website or on our project management system, we're having video calls and everything. So if you look at my calendar, I've got calls, which is I'm okay with, because that's again
Yeah.
building that relationship. And it's not just a quick phone call. It's like, no, whenever we know that we're going to have a phone call, we're going to get together. Now, if I have something quick I need to ask a client, I'll call them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's fine. But if it's like, hey, let's have a conversation or something, or hey, let's go over your monthly books. What do they look like? Where you're at?
Yeah.
I just spent yesterday. I had a call with a client. I spent an hour and a half, kind of going over their goals, what they want to achieve for the rest of the year, and how we were gonna get to that point. Hour and a half. You could have that conversation. Yeah, he could have come in and sat down, but he's in Florida.
Yeah,
And so,
gotcha. Yeah, that's awesome.
and so it's like, for me, I feel like I communicate a lot more with them now, and it's kind of weird because you think, how is that possible? Since
Yeah.
but I try to make it a point, like, hey, I'm a person. I'm not just some robot. I'm not just some faceless company that you're talking to that's just trying to push
Yeah.
stuff out
Yeah,
like
gotcha.
that. And so I've noticed that I do spend more time client facing, more time with my
Yeah.
clients.
Yeah, gotcha. I think we talked about this earlier, though. My clients are in their 40s, and I think most of them would be like, so we're gonna have a meeting over FaceTime. I mean, like I don't like a lot of them they don't know, but I know when you do the JX4, I mean, you just email us a link, boom, boom. As long as we have the Zoom app, I mean, we did JX4 yesterday. I was driving, Amanda and I are driving through, Gainesville, Texas, and then we're in McDonald's, hooking up to their Wi-Fi and all that good stuff. So, but you've been doing this long enough that you were in personal meetings, kind of the one-on-one. So, would you just say overall this is definitely enhancing the relationship with the client?
So don't get me wrong. I still have clients locally that I meet once a month.
Yeah.
That's what they prefer, and I prefer it as well. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I think this adds just another level to it. In case, hey, we can't meet, but you still want to have that conversation. Okay, well, get on your phone. You're driving. You're going. You're driving out of town. Okay, well, let's hop on a call. Let's hop on a video call.
Yeah.
That way we can see each other's faces. To me, it's not taken away from the interpersonal relationships, because that's that's very important as well in this industry.
Yeah.
But I feel like it enhances it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It makes it kind of add to a different level. Like, okay, we can't meet in person. Let's meet. Let's do a video chat. Maybe this month or this quarter, whatever it is, and then let's have that conversation again. Next time let's meet in person if we can.
Gotcha.
So instead of having to try to again, having to figure out when we can meet and things like that, at least you can hop on a quick call and you're good to go.
So, not to get into detail, but I guess these softwares are like you can put a PDF in there, and then they can be looking at the PDF, and you're talking about.
So you can share your screen, So that's a big thing too for me. So a lot of our, especially if we're doing kind of when we finish our tax returns, and when we finish our tax returns, we'll do a screen share and walk our client through it.
Okay, awesome.
And so.
Well, I definitely know that I'm gonna hit you up, and that's part of why I was trying to figure out, how do you monetize it, because I value your time and effort. But I think we've talked about automation, we're talking about live. It seemed like there was something else we were gonna chat about. I know we did our podcast, and then I guess with JX4, we're excited because in August we're going to be all together. JX4 is going to stay at JJ the CPA's house. So we're going to have all kinds of content. I almost feel like we should just set up a live cam, like several places, kind of like we should almost do something that's like what's the show that you like to watch, The Brother?
Big Brother.
Big Brother.
We should almost set up like a Big Brother. We'll probably, have a camera in the back, because we'll have
Jose's already stayed with these two.
Yeah, true.
The others.
So you know what I did, and I ended up staying. So I had prepaid a hotel, and I guess I was out a little bit later than I wanted to, and the hotel was right across the street from everything. So I just found my way into the hotel. So
gotcha.
I didn't stay with them, and so I was just so I was beating myself up afterwards. I'm like, dang it. So that's what I'm looking forward to now. I'm like, J-Mac's coming in, and we're gonna drive to Oklahoma from here. So that's gonna be fun.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
So we're either gonna get a lot closer, or I'm gonna get fed up with him. So either way, it's gonna be great content for
Either way,
everybody
it's
to
gonna be
see.
great content. Yeah. Well, I know what it was, and I know we've got your baby girl here, but what is this company? And you are seeming to do a lot of work with this company, and I don't know anything about it. There was the ZeroCon. It sounds like there's a lot of buzz about them. But just in a nutshell, what is Xero, and what was ZeroCon all about?
Okay, so Xero is a cloud accounting software. So imagine QuickBooks Online,
Okay.
but just it's a different company. It was born out of New Zealand.
Oh,
So if you want to talk about innovative technology in the accounting industry, New Zealand and Australia are like 5 years ahead of us.
Is that right?
Yeah, they have some amazing things over there. And so Xero is a cloud accounting software. I actually came around it. I was using QBO exclusively. I didn't know anything else, and that's what I knew in my company. Every firm I worked at was always QuickBooks. That's the industry standard here in the U.S. At least that's a big name.
Right,
that's a big
QuickBooks
name.
Online, QBO, yeah.
So I was like, well, I want to work on the cloud. You know, I had a taste of it in my old firm. We kind of did a little bit. You okay?
You're gonna be famous.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna be the famous one.
And so I was like, okay. And then, so Jacqueline Velez, the salesman here, she got my email somehow. And I get a call from Zero. Hey, let's set you up with a free pro. You know, you're a partner. You get a free. You know, you get a free books for your firm. Let's get you up. I'm like, yeah, whatever. Okay, so I set it up. Linked my bank account. Never went back. Jackie got a hold of my email and just, you know, you're your salesman.
Mhm.
Hey, come out to this event. Hey, come out to that event. Hey, come out to. Hey,
Yeah.
I'd love to meet you. And it's just like, all right, fine. So I went out to an event and they kind of did a demo of it. And I was just like, okay, all right. It looks a little bit. It looks different. Let me give it a shot. And I went head first into it. And
Okay.
to be 100% honest with you, I hated it because it's too. While it does the same functions, they operate very differently. QuickBooks and Xero.
Mhm.
But once I figured out that I can't do in Xero what I do in QuickBooks, it kind of clicked. And at that point, it has streamlined. It has made life to me a lot easier. It's transformed my firm, you know, because
Wow. Okay.
it's they have a few key differences from QBO that I prefer, and from other softwares as well, you know.
Okay.
And so for me, it has helped me a lot, and a lot with Schedule C clients. So
Wow. Okay.
whenever what I used to do was just get an Excel spreadsheet, get bank statements from an
Yep.
Excel spreadsheet, you know,
Yep,
put
yep.
them into there, and then just
Yep.
get your P&L from the Excel.
Yep.
Now, what you can do is take those bank statements, those credit card statements, take them, drop them into something like Auto Entry, which will pull that information to a CSV file,
Uh-huh.
and then
Like from a paper statement.
from a paper statement and put it into a CSV file for you.
Okay.
And then you take that CSV file, you import it into Xero. Xero has a function called, so you have all your transactions in there for the year.
Mm-hmm.
They have a function called a cache coding function where you can mass reconcile transactions in bulk. So you just sort, you know, let's say you have a bunch of Home Depots, you get a
Yeah,
construction guy,
Yeah.
you sort them all. So let's say you've got 300 transactions of Home Depot, you click them all, send them to COGS or wherever you want to send them, hit reconcile, and it'll reconcile those 300 in mass instead of having to go in individual by individual. So
Oh
my
my
Schedule
gosh,
C
wow.
clients, done. And then you say your bank rules.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
say your bank rules in there, and once you set your bank rules up, then it automatically, you know, once you import the transactions, it'll send it directly to that account already.
Wow.
You just have to approve it. So you just go
Yeah.
through, do all your bank rules,
Uh-oh.
and then, oops, what are you doing? What are you doing?
She wants in on this action.
What are you doing? So
So with Xero, it sounds like that, you know, because QuickBooks doesn't have a lot of that automation. Would that be considered?
so it
an
does.
automation?
So it
Oh, it does?
Yes and no. So a lot of these functions that work with Xero also work with QuickBooks Online.
Oh, online.
Online.
Which I hate.
Yeah, online.
I mean, I love QuickBooks.
Yeah, so QuickBooks
Like,
Desktop,
love
Justin will tell you. Justin will fight you. He literally wanted to fight me the other day because I had mentioned something about
You mean
QuickBooks Desktop. He loves QuickBooks Desktop.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah, it's a great
I'm on his
software.
side,
Yeah,
so.
it's a great software. I think for, you know, your construction companies, if
Yeah.
you know, those really bigger ones or those enterprise edition, I mean, I think it's a great software.
Yeah.
But the cloud version to me personally was just, it wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah, gotcha.
And Xero was, you
Yeah.
know, and I felt like this was a little bit more intuitive, a little bit better, and that's why I kind of went all in with them, and that's where we're at now. Is, you know, I
Yeah.
use them almost exclusively. I still have a couple clients on QBO, which, you know, that's what they want. And, you know, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we use, and so that's what Xero is. But what I love about Xero is the community. They have built, they do a good job of building an online community of just collaborative accountants. So kind of like what we're doing with JX4, just imagine it on a bigger scale with a bunch of people that use Xero. That you know, you can go to them and talk to them and be like, hey, I have this problem. So a lot of this automation stuff I learned was having conversations with a lot of them that, you know, these big guys that are already in the space doing it, and you know, what works for them, what hasn't worked for them. And so I can kind of go in, so I don't spend my time demoing different software, because I did that when I first started. I demoed every software I could think of, and I did free trials and everything. It's a waste of time.
Gotcha.
You know, it really is. And so now you talk to them, this is what I'm looking for. They'll give you a couple recommendations, and it's, again, there's no monetization. There's, you know, it's not like, hey, okay, now you owe me $300 for that. It's very open, collaborative, you know, group. And so what ZeroCon is essentially their big conference to, one, talk about what's new with the software, but two, to bring the community together. And so I was able to meet people that I know from all over the U.S. and all over the world. There's a couple accountants in Argentina and Mexico that I've been on a couple calls with the Latinos that use
Awesome.
Zero,
Yeah.
and I got to meet them, which was
Yeah,
great.
Awesome.
And so yeah, we were just back and forth, and so you get to meet a lot of people, and then you also get to see a lot of the vendors.
Yeah.
They're there. So these softwares. So if you have like an e-commerce business that uses Amazon, and if you guys have ever had to reconcile those statements, they're impossible to reconcile. So there's a software called A2X that essentially takes all that information, spits it out into Zero to make it really easy for you to reconcile.
Oh,
And it
wow.
eliminates all that time.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow.
and so the thing is, there's a lot of softwares that do a lot of these things, but the problem is, well, I don't want to pay the monthly fee.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's understandable, but how much
Yeah.
time are you wasting?
Yeah.
Are you wasting
Yeah.
3 hours to reconcile a statement
Yeah.
when you can be paying, whatever it is that their fee is,
Yep.
which is, I can guarantee
Right.
you is going to be a lot less than what you
Yeah.
bill per hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Gotcha. Oh, that's awesome.
So
Well, the reason I'm holding this up is that I think that you and I had talked that we'd like to have some sponsors for the accounting and social media symposium that we're now kind of collaborating with. I think you had said something about reaching out to Zero to see if they want to be a sponsor in that. Sponsor being that they're providing something, but think of this: this is the first annual inaugural foundational symposium. It's there's never been anything like it, and the difference being we're all together live, so there'd be a lot of opportunity, and basically they're going to get it for nothing because next year they're going to have to pay each of us like $100,000. Yeah, seriously. Well,
I
man,
mean, I see who I can talk to. I don't know if I have that much pull. You know what I mean? I wish I did, but
if you get me in touch with your salesman, I'm talking like couple $100. Like if we're having to buy some software or something like that.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
But anyways, I can get money out of it. Okay, so we had a few people. What venue? Which one's this?
That's
is
big
LinkedIn.
at LinkedIn.
This is LinkedIn. So this is LinkedIn Live, which is just totally awesome. So we talked about that, but did you answer the question? I can tell you what I smell like.
I mean, he smells.
I smell like Ralph Lauren, Polo Ralph Lauren,
Polo. Yes.
the green bottle. So we're good there. And then we had, what do you know Jessica?
Yes, I met her at a Zero event, actually.
So we got a nice, and then she says the virtual aspect of meeting would be a great supplement. It doesn't have to eliminate face-to-face. Yeah, think of it as milkshake to the meal of
That's
your
a
current
good-
practice.
yeah, I like
That's a
the
good
way.
way to do it. And then Juan popped on. I don't know if Juan is still with us.
Let's see who's on. Let me see if I can tell.
Oh yeah, we can see.
I see 4 people, but I don't know who it is. So,
Okay.
but
Juan, are you still on? J-Mac?
I think J Max with his family.
Yeah. Well, it is 4th of July.
So.
It is
Yeah.
4th of July.
Well, it was nice of them to pop on. So, well, man, this has been awesome.
It
Yeah,
has
this is
been
good.
This
so
has been
awesome.
like this. Talk about some great content. When does this happen? Nothing. I mean, it's never happened with ZTX, right? That you've done your podcast where we've both been in the same room.
No, I tried once,
Yeah.
and the audio was so bad. I still posted it, and it was just terrible. Like
Gotcha.
a lot of it got lost in the because there was echoes and everything, and
Yeah.
so it was just like
Well, this has been awesome. So here's what we took care of. We got to meet each other live, and we got to do my inaugural podcast to come soon. We got to do a podcast for you. We got to learn about Zero. We got to learn about automation. We talked about live versus Zoom meetings and whatnot. And the big thing is that with this software, you are, just to repeat it, where are we broadcasting right now simultaneously?
LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter right now.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thanks for doing all that.
Yeah, of course, man. Thanks.
Well, we'll probably shoot a couple little promos, like 30 seconds, real quick, that we can then use on and on. Kind of like on the radio station. It's like, this is Nikki Six of Raleigh Crew. You're listening to KJ 103. All right, man. Well, hey,
All
this
right.
was awesome. This was totally
This
awesome.
is great. So, guys, we just want to say thank you for watching. We appreciate. Thank you for watching version 2. I know version 1 was bad. I'm gonna delete it if I can. Watch this one. Don't watch that one. But thanks for coming on, and we'll
awesome.
talk to you guys later. All
All
right.
right. Thanks, buddy.
Yep.